Imagine you're standing in complete darkness. No electricity, no city lights, no screens, just night. You strike a match. For a fraction of a second, there's only a scratch. And then suddenly, light bursts into existence. A small golden flame rises, steady and alive, pushing back the darkness. It feels simple, right? But that tiny flame is one of the strangest things in the universe. Because what you're looking at isn't actually a thing, it's an event. Fire is not solid like wood, not a liquid like water, not even exactly a gas. Fire is matter in the middle of changing itself. When you light a match, the wood doesn't turn into fire. Instead, heat begins tearing the wood apart at a molecular level. The solid structure breaks down and releases invisible gases. You can see them at first, but they're there, rising into the air. And when those gases meet oxygen, something dramatic happens. The atoms rearrange. Old chemical bonds snap, new ones form. And in that rearranging, energy that was quietly stored inside the material is suddenly released. Not silently, but as heat and as light. That glowing flame you see is energy escaping into the world. In other words, fire is light born from destruction. Now, here's the part most people don't realize: the flame itself isn't the wood, it isn't the wick, it isn't even the oxygen. It's mostly hot gases, carbon dioxide, water vapors, bits of carbon, all heated to extreme temperatures inside that chaos. Tiny particles get so hot that they begin to glow. That yellow orange color in a candle flame. Those are microscopic carbon particles heated until they shine like miniature suns. It's the same reason metal glows red in a furnace. Temperature becomes visible. But not all fire looks yellow. Turn on a gas stove and the flame burns blue. Why? Because it's cleaner. There are fewer soot particles. Instead of glowing carbon, you're seeing excited gas molecules emitting specific wavelengths of light. Blue flames are hotter and more efficient. Orange flames are cooler and dirtier. The color of fire is basically chemistry speaking in light. Change the material and you change the color entirely. Burn copper and the flame glows green. Sodium burns bright yellow. Potassium creates purple tones. That's not magic, that's atomic physics. Each element releases a unique pattern of light when heated. Fireworks designers don't just create explosions, they choreograph chemistry. But here's a deeper question: if fire is just a chemical reaction, why does it move the way it does? Watch a candle closely. The flame stretches upward, flickers, bends sideways as if reacting to invisible forces. It almost feels alive. In reality, it's responding to physics. Hot air rises. As it rises, cooler air rushes in to replace it. That movement creates turbulence. The flame constantly reshapes itself because the air around it is constantly shifting. It's not thinking, it's flowing. That upward stretch you see, that's gravity and heat interacting. The flame is pulled upward because hot gases are less dense than cool air. In space, where there's no gravity, flames don't even look the same. They form small, blue, spherical glows instead of tall, flickering shapes. Even fire behaves differently when gravity disappears. And then there's the question people love to ask: is fire alive? It grows, it spreads, it consumes, it dies when it runs out of fuel. It sounds alive. Ancient civilizations certainly thought so. Fire was treated like a spirit, something that had to be fed and respected. It felt unpredictable, powerful, and almost emotional. But fire has no cells, no DNA, no intention. It doesn't want anything. It simply follows the rules of chemistry. Give it fuel, oxygen, and enough heat, and it continues. Take one away, and it vanishes instantly. Which brings us to something even stranger. Sometimes, under extreme temperatures, fire becomes something else entirely. In lightning bolts or welding torches, the heat is so intense that atoms begin losing electrons. The gas becomes electrically charged. That state is called plasma, often referred to as the fourth state of matter. In those moments, fire isn't just a chemical reaction, it becomes electrically alive. But your everyday candle, not quite that extreme, it's mostly hot gases and glowing carbon particles, not fully plasma, just energetic matter mid transformation. And here's what makes fire so extraordinary: it powered human civilization. Before electricity, fire was light. It allowed us to cook food, harden tools, create pottery, and forge metal. It turned darkness into safety. It extended our working hours. It gave us warmth in freezing climates. Fire did not just help humans survive, it shaped who we became. And yet, even today, with all our technology, we still sit around campfires staring into the flames like our ancestors did thousands of years ago. There's something hypnotic about watching matter transform in real time because deep down, fire reminds us of something bigger. Everything is temporary. Wood becomes ash, fuel becomes smoke, energy becomes light. Fire is change you can see. It's chemistry performing in public. It's destruction that creates warmth. It's matter letting go of its old form and becoming something else entirely. So the next time you light a candle or strike a match, pause for a second. You're not just looking at a flame, you're witnessing atoms rearranging themselves. You're watching stored sunlight captured long ago by plants, finally being released back into the world. You're seeing energy that was trapped inside matter escape as light. Fire isn't a thing you can hold, it's a moment of transformation. A brief, glowing reminder that even the most familiar things in our lives are far more extraordinary than they seem. And that's the history of one of the simplest and strangest things in existence. If you enjoyed this journey into the science behind something we see every day, subscribe to Making Things Simpler. Because sometimes the simplest questions hold the most fascinating answers.